Stars burned silently across the edge of the Empire, and a patrol ship drifted through the empty dark. The crew worked without worry because nothing ever happened in this quiet sector. Then a strange signal flashed on the sensors. It was small at first, almost like background noise. The officer on watch leaned closer, trying to focus. The signal grew stronger, moving fast. The pattern didn't match any known ship. No trader, no pirate, no Imperial craft. It came from deep space, straight toward them. The captain arrived, tired but calm, holding a cup of hot tea. When he saw the display, his face changed. The signal was strong, sharp, and coming closer by the second. He ordered full scan. The result shocked everyone. The object was huge, too large to be a normal warship. Its energy signature didn't fit anything in the Imperial database. The captain asked for cross-checks. Every system confirmed the same thing. Unknown origin, unknown class, unknown drive type. Soon, other stations in nearby systems reported the same contact. The Empire's network combined the data and formed an image. It was a warship, but one that should not exist. Its hull was rough, almost alive, like metal mixed with stone. Power pulsed through it like veins. No known empire could build something like that. Analysts laughed nervously, saying it must be a trick. Someone whispered the word human, and the room went silent. The Empire had known of humans. Small colonies, weak fleets, stubborn people with more courage than resources. They built simple ships, clever but fragile. The Empire never saw them as a threat. But this new contact was nothing like that. It moved through space as if it owned it, cutting through gravity fields with no effort. It had the size of a capital dreadnought, but the design was completely alien to Imperial standards. The patrol ship sent a message. "Identify yourself." The reply came almost instantly, short and cold. "Stand clear, live." The captain didn't know what to say. He answered in the official way, demanding the unknown ship to stop for inspection. No answer. The unknown continued straight ahead, silent and steady. Sector Command ordered reinforcements. Within hours, 3 Imperial frigates and 1 cruiser surrounded the contact. The fleet commander tried to open communication again. "Unidentified vessel, power down your drives and prepare for boarding." The unknown ship turned slightly, its lights flickering like a heartbeat. Then it answered, same words, same voice. "Stand clear, live." The cruiser fired a warning shot. A beam of white energy cut past the unknown ship's bow. The return came not as fire, but as something stranger. Space bent for a second. The Imperial sensors glitched, losing distance readings. The enemy ship didn't move or attack. It simply changed its position as if it slipped through space itself. No drive flare, no heat trail, just instant motion. The Imperial fleet tried to adjust formation. Every targeting system failed. The unknown's gravity field distorted everything. The frigate's computers screamed errors. The cruiser captain ordered a missile launch. Dozens of warheads flew toward the target, none hit. They drifted sideways, spinning helplessly, exploding far from their mark. It looked like the void itself had rejected them. The unknown ship's central core glowed red like an open eye. It felt alive, watching them. Every Imperial crew member stared in silence. Some said they could feel it inside their heads, not words, just a pressure. A silent question asking, "Why are you still here?" The fleet commander shouted orders, but no one dared move. Then the ship spoke again, this time in perfect Imperial language. "We are not here for war. Do not follow. Live." Its voice echoed across every channel, deep and calm, like it came from 1,000 speakers. The cruiser captain hesitated, torn between pride and fear. The Empire had never backed down before. But what could they do against something that ignored physics? The unknown ship turned away, opening a path of blue light behind it, a corridor through the stars. No one knew what it was. A jump gate? A wormhole? The humans had no such technology, at least not before. The ship entered the light and vanished without sound. The sensors cleared. The pressure disappeared. Silence returned. The Empire's command demanded answers. Reports came in filled with confusion. Some officers said it was an illusion, some said a new weapon, but those who had seen it up close couldn't deny what they felt. It was real. A human warship unlike anything imagined. It moved like a god's tool, and it showed mercy when it could have destroyed them all. The patrol captain watched the recording alone. He replayed the image of the red eye again and again, The Empire would try to hide the truth, maybe even erase it. But he knew the truth could not be buried. Somewhere out there, humanity had built something impossible, and if one ship existed, there could be more. Across the Empire, whispers spread in the dark corners of stations and war rooms. If humans could do this, what else could they build? What would happen when that fleet returned? Not to warn, but to fight. The Empire had ruled the stars for centuries. No one had ever made them feel small. But now, even in their grand halls and shining cities, officers looked to the sky with uneasy eyes. Somewhere beyond the spiral arm, a red light might open again, and when it did, the Empire would remember the words that still echoed in every comm log, every memory file, every frightened dream. Stand clear. Live. They were not words of threat, they were words of warning, the kind that come before the storm. The Imperial Council chamber was silent except for the faint hum of energy shields and the slow pulse of light beneath the marble floor. Representatives from a dozen sectors had gathered, faces pale, voices caught between disbelief and pride. The High Chancellor stood near the edge of the holographic display that showed the recording, the moment when the massive unknown ship vanished into blue light. The file had been verified again and again. The sensors couldn't lie. The object was real. Its energy readings matched no known power system. The Empire's top scientists had labeled it as an impossible signature. The Chancellor's voice broke the silence. "So we agree it was human?" The question echoed like thunder in the chamber. Some of the admirals looked down. Others refused to answer. Finally, Admiral Vareth, a tall and scarred veteran, spoke. It carried human transmission codes. Primitive ones, but unmistakable. The words were in our own tongue. "I believe it was human-built." The Chancellor frowned. "Impossible. Humans cannot create a drive that bends gravity. Their colonies barely sustain trade routes." Vareth looked at the hologram again, watching the red eye pulse in the darkness. And yet there it is. The Empire's scientists had already taken apart the signal residue left behind. They found a field signature no known equation could explain. It wasn't a wormhole, not a jump drive, not even quantum folding. It was something new. Something elegant and terrifying in its simplicity. A single energy wave that split space like fabric and resealed it behind the ship. They called it the slipstream effect. While the Council debated far away, deep within human space, a different kind of meeting was taking place. Commander Rhea Holt stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, the warship that had sent shockwaves through the Empire. Her crew was exhausted but proud. They had completed the test successfully, crossing 3 light years in under a minute without damage or trace radiation. It was the first real test of the slipstream core, but she knew the Empire had seen them. The warning she sent, "Stand clear, live," had not been mercy. It had been necessity. The slipstream field was unstable at the edges. Any ship caught nearby would be crushed like paper. Her communications officer, a young man named Jin, turned from his console. "Ma'am, we're still receiving faint Imperial probes behind us." "They're tracking our wake," Rhea nodded. "Let them. The more they chase shadows, the longer Earth has to prepare." She turned toward the massive viewing window. Stars drifted past like sparks from a forge. "They think we're the weapon. They don't know we're just the messenger." Back in the Empire, panic turned into anger. The Council feared nothing more than humiliation. Rumors spread through the military that humanity had discovered something ancient, something buried in old star ruins long before the Empire existed. Commanders demanded action. Admiral Vareth was ordered to lead a task force to the edge of human space. His orders were clear: investigate, intimidate, and if necessary, eliminate. But privately he felt doubt clawing at his thoughts. The recording haunted him, the calm voice, the power, the mercy. No Empire ship would have spared enemies that close. 3 weeks later, the fleet arrived at the border of human territory, a chaotic cluster of trade stations, mining outposts, and defense satellites. The Empire's scanners swept the region, but the massive warship was gone. All that remained were faint gravitational scars, drifting like ripples on water. Then a small transmission reached them. It wasn't encrypted. It was open, raw, human. A single sentence repeated in every frequency. "Do not come closer. You are not ready." The Imperial officers laughed at first, thinking it was a bluff, but Admiral Vareth didn't laugh. He ordered all ships to hold position. "We test first," he said. "Launch a drone." The small probe glided forward into human space. For a moment, all readings were normal. Then, without warning, the feed turned white. Every sensor screamed. The drone vanished, not destroyed but erased, its existence removed as if it had never been there. The crew froze. Vareth clenched his fists. Mark the boundary. No ship crosses it without my order. He stared into the empty dark. Somewhere beyond that invisible line, humanity was building something the Empire couldn't understand. Meanwhile, on Earth, Rhea met with the Council of Scientists responsible for the Slipstream Core. They called themselves the Arc Division, a mix of engineers, physicists, and ex-military officers. In an underground base beneath the Pacific, they watched the Empire's movements on massive screens. Every time an Imperial ship got too close, they released a static pulse, a warning disguised as a storm. Dr. Kaido, the lead scientist, stood beside her. They'll come, Commander. They always do. But they still think we're a small world with big dreams? Rhea smiled faintly. Let them think that. Dreams are what built this. Kaido turned to a side chamber where engineers worked around a giant cylinder pulsing with blue light. It was the second Slipstream core, larger, faster, more stable. Rhea looked at it with quiet pride. When it's ready, she said softly, we won't just defend Earth. We'll explore beyond their reach. Back in the Empire, Vareth submitted his report. He told the Council the truth. Attacking humans now would be suicide. The Chancellor was furious. You're suggesting we fear them? I'm suggesting we learn from them, Vareth replied, before they decide to teach us by force. The Chancellor dismissed him, but doubt had already spread through the ranks. Some officers began questioning the Empire's strength. Some whispered that humanity might hold the key to something greater, freedom from the Empire's arrogance. In the following weeks, the border remained tense but quiet. Human signals grew stronger. Sometimes Imperial patrols caught glimpses of strange blue lights far beyond known lanes. The Empire's sensors recorded brief distortions like cracks in space itself. Each time the data showed the same pattern, the slipstream signature. Then one night, without warning, the human warship returned. It appeared at the edge of the Imperial outpost where it had first been sighted. No message. No warning. It simply hovered there, silent and massive. The red eye glowed faintly, reflecting off the outpost's hull. Admiral Vareth received the alert. His hands shook, but his voice was steady. Do not engage, he said. Open a channel. The human voice came through at once, calm and familiar. We told you not to follow. You crossed the line. Vareth swallowed hard. We only wish to talk. Then listen, the voice replied. The galaxy is changing. We did not start this, but we will finish it if we must. And with that, the Indomitable vanished again into blue light, leaving the Empire's finest ships staring into the void, their sensors blind, their courage shaken. For the first time in centuries, the Empire understood what fear truly meant, and it wore a human face. Across the Empire's outer stations, the story of the human warship spread like wildfire. Pilots whispered it over encrypted channels. Soldiers talked about it in mess halls, and civilians shared it in quiet corners of spaceports. The officials tried to dismiss it as enemy propaganda, but the fear had already rooted itself deep. The image of that glowing red eye haunted every night. No one could forget the voice that spoke through the void, calm, steady, and terrifying in its certainty. Do not follow. Admiral Vareth found himself summoned once again before the Imperial Council. The great hall was filled with shimmering banners and cold faces. The Chancellor's tone was sharp. You saw it twice and did nothing. You let a human ship humiliate the Empire. Vareth's reply was calm. We attacked, we failed. You can call it fear if you want, but I call it sense. That ship defied every rule of physics. It erased our missiles like dust. The council murmured among themselves, half in disbelief, half in anger. One of the younger generals stood up. Then we build better weapons. The Empire will not bow to primitives from a death world. Vareth looked him in the eye. You can't fight what you don't understand. They aren't just building weapons. They've built something new. Something alive. The Chancellor silenced them with a gesture. Enough. We will form a new division, Project Eclipse. You, Admiral Vareth, will lead it. We will study, capture, or destroy this human warship. And if you fail again, the Council will consider you part of the problem. Vareth saluted, though the gesture felt heavy. He left the chamber with the sound of arguments echoing behind him. He had seen many wars, but this one felt different. The humans had done something the Empire never expected. They had made the impossible real. Meanwhile, aboard the Indomitable, Commander Rhea Holt stood on the observation deck. The slipstream core had stabilized, humming like a living heart within the hull. She stared out at the stars, knowing the Empire would not stop. She had seen the faces of their ships, their fear hiding behind arrogance. They would come again, stronger, angrier. Jin, her young communication officer, approached. "Commander, we've intercepted Imperial transmissions. They're forming something called Project Eclipse." Rhea nodded slowly. "Then we're out of time. Send a message to Earth Command. Phase 2 begins now." Far away on Earth, deep underground beneath layers of steel and ocean, the Arc Division received her message. Dr. Kaito read it in silence. The next phase meant full disclosure, bringing all human colonies into the Slipstream network. For decades, humanity had kept its true progress hidden, pretending weakness while quietly mastering technologies the Empire thought impossible. Kaito turned to his team. "Activate the relay gates. It's time the galaxy learns how far humanity has come." Back in the Empire, Vareth gathered his new team of scientists and soldiers. Among them was Dr. Lenari, an expert in gravitational mechanics who had studied the faint traces left behind by the human slipstream. She showed him a projection. "Admiral, this energy pattern repeats every 7 hours. It's not random. It's communication, a signal wave spreading through subspace, meaning?" Vareth asked. "Meaning," she said. "They're talking to someone, or everyone." Before the Empire could react, hundreds of strange anomalies appeared across their border. Brief flashes of blue light, small but unmistakable. Outposts reported ghost readings, strange energy surges, and ships vanishing for seconds before reappearing. The Council panicked. To them it looked like an invasion, but it wasn't. It was a message. A single repeating line encoded in energy. "We are awake." Vareth stood on his ship's bridge watching the readings come in. "They're not attacking," he said softly. "They're showing us they can be everywhere at once." The fleet beside him bristled for war, but Vareth refused to fire. He knew this was more than a battle of ships. It was a battle of understanding. The humans were no longer fighting for survival. They were declaring presence. In the following days, Imperial scouts began finding human outposts that hadn't existed before. Tiny stations built on drifting rocks guarded by drones that moved like ghosts. Each outpost carried the same symbol, a circle split by a thin line of light, the mark of the slipstream. Meanwhile, Rhea's warship traveled beyond mapped space. Inside, her crew worked to complete the second phase of their mission, awakening the other prototypes hidden across human colonies. Each was a ship like Indomitable, unique, alive, waiting for activation. Humanity had kept them hidden, not because they feared discovery, but because they feared what they might become if used too soon. Jin looked at her as the ship approached the next activation point. "Do you think they'll understand?" "The Empire, I mean." Rhea shook her head. "No, empires never understand until it's too late. But we won't destroy them unless they force us to." The second slipstream vessel ignited in a blaze of blue-white light. Across human space, others began to stir, their cores pulsing in sync like hearts beating under the same sky. In the Empire, the Council watched these new signatures with horror. The Chancellor slammed a fist against the console. "How many do they have?" Dr. Lenari whispered. "At least 9, maybe more." Vareth said nothing. He just stared at the display, feeling both dread and awe. "We called them savages," he said quietly. "But look at them now. They're building a new age." The Chancellor pointed at him furiously. "Then end it. Before it begins." Fleet after fleet was launched toward human space. But as soon as they crossed the border, their drives failed. Their sensors went blind and their weapon systems refused to lock. The slipstream field had grown stronger, blanketing the stars like a silent storm. From her command seat aboard the Indomitable, Rhea watched the incoming fleets vanish one by one into harmless distortion. "They still think power is about control," she said softly. "They don't understand. Power is about creation." And when the final Imperial transmission reached her ship, carrying the last defiant message from the Chancellor himself, she answered not with words but with a beam of light that spread across the galaxy like dawn. It wasn't a weapon, it was a signal. A map. It told every species, every world, that the humans had opened the road beyond the known universe. And for the first time in galactic history, the Empire realized it wasn't the center of the stars anymore. It was just another story. One about pride, fear, and the day humanity proved that impossible was only the beginning. In the far edges of the Empire's influence, space was trembling. Not because of war, but because of something deeper, change. The great empires that once believed themselves eternal were now whispering about one name: humanity. The Empire's news channels refused to say it aloud, yet the people already knew. Across stations and colonies, rumors spread. Rumors of a ship that moved faster than light itself, of a voice that spoke calm warnings to fleets that once ruled galaxies. Admiral Vareth stood in silence before the massive viewport of his command ship. The stars looked different now, sharper somehow, as if even the universe had shifted since that encounter. Behind him, his crew worked quietly. No one dared break the silence. The last report had come in an hour ago. 5 more Imperial fleets lost at the border. Not destroyed, not even damaged. Simply gone. Their last transmissions were filled with static and strange blue light. The Chancellor's voice echoed over the communicator, sharp and demanding. "Vareth, what is happening at the frontier?" "I sent you 50 ships," Vareth replied calmly, "and I have sent back 50 signals of nothing, Chancellor. Every ship that crosses the boundary vanishes. There are no explosions, no wrecks, no debris. It's as if space itself consumes them." The Chancellor's tone darkened. "Then find a way through. No power can defy the Empire forever." When the call ended, Vareth remained motionless. His reflection in the glass looked older than he remembered. He thought of that voice again, human, but carrying something beyond humanity. A warning, or perhaps a promise. Meanwhile, in the hidden depths of Earth's command center, Commander Rhea Holt stood before a council of human leaders and scientists. The room glowed with cold blue light from the Slipstream Core Network's projection. Every line of energy on the hologram connected one human colony to another, weaving a vast web across known space. Humanity was no longer a scattered collection of survivors. They were becoming a force. Dr. Cato spoke first. "Commander, the Empire's fleets keep coming. Every encounter increases the Slipstream's range. It's adapting. Learning from their attempts." Rhea nodded slowly. "Then it's working. But it also means they'll change tactics soon. They'll stop attacking with ships and start attacking with fear." One of the younger strategists frowned. "Fear?" Rhea looked at the hologram again. "Empires survive on control. When control fails, they try to turn fear into a weapon. They'll spread lies about us. They'll make the galaxy believe humanity is a threat to existence itself." She was right. Even as she spoke, the Empire's propaganda machines were already at work. Across their territories, holoscreens showed falsified footage of human ships destroying peaceful colonies. The broadcast painted humans as monsters from the void, using forbidden power. The Empire called them the Slipstream Scourge, but not everyone believed it. In secret channels, messages spread, stories told by surviving Imperial crews who swore they saw the human ship spare them, even when it could have killed them easily. Pilots spoke of a sense of warmth, of hearing voices that told them to go home to live. Vareth read those reports and felt something break inside him. He had fought in wars for decades, seen countless battles, but never had he felt this, doubt in his own empire's words. Late that night, he opened a secure channel, one not authorized by the Council, and sent a transmission into deep space. The message was simple. "To the human commander who leads the ship known as Indomitable, I do not seek war. I seek understanding." For days there was no reply. Then in the silence of the 11th day, the stars outside his ship rippled. A blue corridor opened before him. Every alarm on the bridge screamed. And then, the Indomitable appeared. Silent, massive, its hull glowing faintly like an ember in darkness. Vareth's crew panicked, hands hovering over weapons, but he raised his hand. "Hold fire!" A voice filled the bridge, calm, steady, unmistakably human. "You called, Admiral. We heard you." Vareth stepped closer to the screen. "You're real," he whispered. "More real than you'd like to admit," Rhea's voice replied. "Why did you reach out?" "Because I want to know what you are," he said, "and what you intend to do with what you've built." There was a pause. Then Rhea answered, "We intend to live, freely, without being told we can't exist. The Slipstream isn't a weapon, it's freedom. It's the road your empire told the galaxy was impossible to walk." Vareth took a deep breath. "And if the Empire keeps trying to stop you, then we'll show them what impossible truly means," she said quietly. Before he could respond, The ship vanished again into blue light, leaving the crew staring at empty space. No explosion, no trace, just silence. The next day, Vareth returned to the Imperial capital. The council demanded answers, but he told them nothing. When they accused him of cowardice, he simply replied, "You cannot kill the future." That night, he sent one final encrypted message to human space. "If your road leads beyond the stars, remember, some of us wish to follow, not fight." In the weeks that followed, the galaxy began to change. Strange anomalies appeared across neutral sectors. Small wormholes, stable and safe. Ships from independent worlds began traveling through them, discovering distant planets untouched by the Empire. The slipstream gates had multiplied beyond Earth's control. Rhea watched from the command deck of the Indomitable as hundreds of smaller vessels, human and alien alike, traveled through the light. "They're not just ours anymore," Jin said softly. Rhea smiled faintly. "They were never meant to be. We opened the road for everyone." Across the Empire, riots broke out as people demanded the right to cross the slipstream. Soldiers refused orders. Scientists began studying human broadcasts instead of censoring them. The old order was breaking, not through war, but through hope. And far beyond the chaos in the silent dark between galaxies, the Indomitable sailed toward a glowing frontier. Stars bent around its hull like ripples in water. "Commander," Jin asked, "where does the road end?" Rhea looked out into infinity. "It doesn't," she said. "That's what makes it beautiful." Behind her, the slipstream core pulsed like a heartbeat, brighter than ever. Humanity's impossible dream had become the galaxy's new beginning. And somewhere, deep in the Empire's dying light, Admiral Vareth stood beneath a black sky and whispered to himself, "Stand clear. Live." Months passed since the slipstream gates opened and the galaxy was no longer the same. The Empire's banners still waved on hundreds of worlds, but their power was crumbling. People were leaving. Scientists, merchants, even soldiers crossing through the glowing blue corridors that now stretched between stars. The old laws no longer mattered. The promise of freedom had become stronger than fear. In the heart of human space, Commander Rhea Holt stood aboard the Indomitable, watching the streams of light weave across the stars like living veins. Her crew moved quietly, their faces reflecting both awe and worry. The slipstream network had grown beyond their control. What started as humanity's defense had become a highway for every species seeking escape from Empire rule. It was beautiful but unpredictable. "Ma'am," Jin said softly from his station. "New gate readings coming from Sector 12. But we didn't open that one." Rhea frowned. "Origin?" "Unknown," Jin replied. "The signal signature is human, but it's not ours. It's different." Rhea's pulse quickened. The slipstream cores were supposed to be secure. Only Earth and her ship had access to the activation sequence. If another gate had opened, someone else had found a way. She turned to Dr. Kaito's hologram flickering on the console. "Doctor, could there be another slipstream project we don't know about?" Kaito looked tired, his hair grayer than before. "No, Commander. Unless," he hesitated, "unless one of the old prototypes activated itself." Rhea's eyes narrowed. "That's impossible. Those prototypes were sealed decades ago." Kaito gave a grim smile. "You should know by now, Commander. Impossible stopped meaning anything the day you launched the Indomitable." The new gate pulsed brighter, and for the first time its color was not blue, it was white, cold and silent. Then something emerged. A ship, massive, shaped like the Indomitable but sharper, darker with edges that shimmered like blades. Its hull bore human markings, but old, very old. Jin whispered, "Identification? HSS Obsidian Dawn, that can't be right. That ship was lost over 70 years ago." Rhea stared, her throat dry. The Obsidian Dawn was the first experimental slipstream ship, the one that vanished during the initial tests. Its disappearance had haunted the entire project. No wreckage, no signal, nothing. Until now. The white-lit ship glided through the gate and stopped. A faint signal reached them, encrypted in an old Earth code. Jin decoded it slowly, his voice trembling as he read it aloud. "This is Captain Elias Ward of the Obsidian Dawn. We have returned from beyond the stars. Do not open the road further. Something is coming." Rhea froze. "Patch him through." The comm channel opened, filled with static and a faint, broken voice. "Rhea Holt, Earth Command. Whoever is listening, shut the slipstream down. It's not what we thought. It's not just a gate, it's a beacon. And it's calling to something that was never meant to hear us. The signal ended abruptly. The obsidian dawn powered down completely, drifting like a ghost. Dr. Kato's voice shook. Commander, I'm detecting energy signatures from beyond the new gate. Massive ones. They're alive. The crew stared at their screens in disbelief. Strange shapes moved in the slipstream, their forms unclear, neither ships nor creatures, but something in between. Their energy was old, ancient, and it resonated with the same rhythm as the slipstream itself. Ria's instincts screamed danger. Shut it down. Close all gates. Jin worked furiously, hands flying across the console. Trying, ma'am, but the system isn't responding. The slipstream core isn't obeying commands, it's listening to something else. A low hum filled the air, vibrating through the ship's hull like a heartbeat too large to belong to anything living. The stars outside began to distort. Doctor, Ria shouted, what's happening? Kaito stared at the readings, horrified. The slipstream isn't a human invention. We just woke it up. Those cores you're using, they're fragments of something far older. You didn't build them, you found them. The words struck like a blade. Humanity had believed they created the impossible, but in truth they had only reawakened it. The obsidian dawn suddenly powered up, white light pouring from its engines. It turned toward the Indomitable, sending one last transmission. We'll hold the gate. You must seal the rest. Tell Earth to hide. They're coming for the signal. Before Ria could answer, the obsidian dawn accelerated straight into the glowing corridor. The gate flared blindingly white and collapsed in on itself, consuming the ship completely. The shockwave threw the Indomitable backward, its shields flickering under the pressure. When the light faded, the gate was gone. Silence filled the bridge. Jin spoke softly. All other gates. They're flickering, ma'am, like something's moving through them. Ria steadied herself, voice firm again. Then we seal them all. No matter the cost. Humanity opened the road. Now we have to guard it. Across the Empire, sensors flared as the slipstream network began to dim. One by one, the glowing corridors closed, their light fading like dying stars. But not before something else slipped through. Something vast and unseen. Admiral Vareth, stationed near the collapsing frontier, watched his monitors fill with strange patterns. Is that a human attack? His aide asked. Vareth shook his head slowly. No, this is something else. For a brief moment, the slipstream shimmered one last time, and an immense silhouette appeared within it. Like a creature made of light and shadow, wings stretching across constellations. Then it vanished. On the Indomitable, alarms ceased. The ship floated quietly in the aftermath. Ria leaned against the console, breathing hard. We thought we were the first to walk the stars, she said softly. But maybe we were only the first to wake up. Jin looked at her, fear and wonder in his eyes. What do we do now? Ria gazed at the dark void where the gate once stood. Now, she said, we prepare. Because whatever was listening out there heard us. As the stars drifted in silence, the slipstream core inside the Indomitable pulsed once more, faintly, like a heartbeat answering another far away. Humanity had changed the galaxy, but the galaxy was not done changing them, and somewhere beyond the reach of any empire or fleet, something ancient stirred in the dark, whispering in a voice that sounded almost human. Darkness returned to the edges of known space, but it was not the same darkness the galaxy once knew. Every empire sensor, every listening post, every watcher on every world caught faint echoes in the void. Soft pulses like a heartbeat too far to measure. The slipstream was gone, yes, sealed and silent, but something had remained. Something alive. On the Indomitable, Commander Ria Holt stood on the bridge in the dim red light of standby mode. The ship was quiet now, as if it too were holding its breath. For weeks her crew had worked non-stop trying to stabilize the slipstream core. They'd succeeded in closing the remaining gates, but the energy readings were still rising. It was like trying to seal a volcano with a sheet of glass. Jin's tired voice broke the silence. Ma'am, external sensors show fluctuations again. The field's not stable. Ria rubbed her eyes. How bad? Bad enough that space around us looks like water, he said. It's moving. Dr. Kaito's hologram flickered into view. His face was pale, lined with exhaustion. The residual energy left behind is adapting. It's not decaying, it's reorganizing itself. Like it's learning from what we did. Ria stared at him. Learning? Kaito nodded slowly. The slipstream was never a machine, Commander. It's a system that responds to thought, to intent. It's older than any civilization we've known. And when we used it, we taught it to feel. The word struck hard. The slipstream wasn't technology, it was life. And by using it, humanity had become its teacher. Jin turned suddenly from his station. "Commander, we're getting a transmission. Not from Earth, not from any known channel, it's repeating your name." "Put it through," Rhea ordered. The voice that filled the bridge was distorted but clear enough to chill the blood. "Rhea Holt, we remember you." The crew froze. The tone wasn't hostile, it was calm, curious, almost gentle, but it wasn't human. Who is this?" Rhea demanded. The reply came with a slow echo, like something speaking through layers of space. "We were asleep when you opened the road. We watched you walk it. We learned your shape, your words, your fire. You closed the gates, but the song remains." Kaito whispered, "It's the entity, the one the Obsidian Dawn warned about." Rhea stepped forward. "If you learn from us, then you know what we are. We seek to survive, not to destroy." Silence stretched for a long, uneasy moment. Then the voice answered, "Survival and destruction are the same when the universe grows crowded." Before she could respond, the ship shuddered. Alarms screamed as the starfield outside twisted into spirals of color. A massive gravitational field was forming just beyond their location. Jin's hands flew across his console. "It's forming a gate, Commander. The slipstream is reopening itself." Kaito's hologram began to glitch. "Rhea, whatever that thing is, it's not just coming through. It's making the slipstream its body. The network is becoming alive." Outside, light split open across the void. A colossal shape moved inside it, not metal, not organic, but something in between. A web of shifting energy threads forming wings that stretched across systems. Every color of light burned from its surface, and every Imperial sensor across the sector went blind. "Commander," Jin shouted. "We're being hailed again." Same voice, but stronger. Rhea clenched her fists. On screen, the air shimmered and the same voice returned, softer now. "You showed us creation. You called it the slipstream. We call it memory. Through it, we remember all who walked before. Your kind was first to speak to us in light. We will not harm you, unless you try to silence us again." Rhea's mind raced. It didn't sound like a conqueror. It sounded like something waking from a dream. "We didn't mean to silence you," she said carefully. "We didn't know you existed." "Now you do," the voice replied. "The road is not yours alone anymore." Then the image vanished. The slipstream gate collapsed once more, leaving nothing but quiet stars. The crew stood in stunned silence. Jin finally whispered, What was that?" Rhea turned away from the screen, her face unreadable. "A beginning," she said, "and maybe the end of everything we understand." Back on Earth, the global network flickered with reports of strange signals appearing everywhere. Voices, symbols, patterns in the night sky. Some called them warnings. Others called them songs. The Empire, broken and desperate, tried to decipher them too, but the messages made no sense. Every translation ended with the same 3 words: "We remember you." Admiral Vareth sat alone in his quarters aboard an abandoned station near the border. He replayed the last human broadcast again, the final transmission from Rhea Holt before her signal vanished. She had spoken of something vast, something that wanted to communicate, not conquer. "If you hear this," she had said, "do not fear the dark. It's listening now and it speaks in echoes of us.